Auto-Age Standoff is the love child of Mad Max and 80s animated TV shows like G.I. Joe and Transformers. From the screech of antagonist Darkjaw's voice to the cel-shaded graphics, all the way to a properly rockin' soundtrack, Auto-Age has style to spare. Unfortunately, while there's definitely some strong mechanics under this game's hood, there's not much to do with them. This isn't to say Auto-Age is a bad game. Far from it. The sound design is just as solid as the score. The visual aesthetic perfectly evokes that G.I. Joe feel. There's a proper tutorial rather than the game just dropping you into public matches. There's bot support for online and private games, as well as split screen for up to 4 players. The combat and navigation offer considerable depth and complexity. The controls are decent. It's all very well executed and far more polished than you'd expect from a multiplayer game at launch, especially an indie one.
I will annihilate them!
The story goes that road warrior turned courier Valentina Vega comes to join forces with the AI Sage, while the aforementioned cyborg gladiator Darkjaw cackles as the big bad. You play as Val during the tutorial, and the rest of the time are a nameless soldier. There's 2 additional factions alluded to, but they're little more than cosmetic skins and flavor text. The premise has some charm to it, but the story falls way into the background once you enter the main game. It'd have been nice if we got some color commentary, maybe some back and forth between Val and Darkjaw depending on how your teams are performing. That'd be great, it would make it feel like it was a real conflict. Instead, on the off occasion that someone does say something, it's Sage just giving you alerts in a monotone robot voice. That's a waste of some great cheesy comedy, and hopefully will be rectified down the road. Speaking of things in need of a tune-up, Auto-Age needs to update its settings menu of all things. As I said, overall the controls are good, but the lack of rebinding options in the settings menu was disconcerting. I personally would have liked to have swapped the shift and spacebar functions, but there's currently no way to do that. Performance was solid, but once again, not a lot of ways to tweak it. I saw anti-aliasing and you can go windowed, but there's not much beyond that. That said, it's not a really intense game, so I definitely see this being a decent title for lower end PCs, particularly laptops, as it has a full keyboard control option if you'd prefer to forego a mouse. There is also full controller support. The biggest issue by far though is the game's dearth of content. Right now, Auto-Age has 3 modes to its name, and 2 of them are variants on Deathmatch, and the 3rd is King of the Hill. That's it. Plus, King of the Hill only applies to 1 of the 4 maps. There is bot support, as I said, so no matter what, you'll always have a match to play, but there are no racing-specific modes. No escorting a VIP, no time trial competitive racing like in Halo Combat Evolved. That's incredibly bizarre for a game that's otherwise all in on its car mechanics. There's not even a Rocket League style mode, despite emulating some of Rocket League's physics and controls to great effect. Also, despite the Steam store claiming otherwise, I couldn't really find any co-op mode after a while of searching, so if it's in there, they hit it really well. Otherwise, I think it's just counting fighting bots as being cooperative, which that's not really what it is. And make no mistake, the depth of Auto-Age's combat is spectacular. I feel like I've barely scratched the surface after trying all of its classes and testing out 1 or 2 custom loadouts. And yes, there's custom loadouts, and you don't have to unlock them. There's a weight system, which is much more reasonable. And 4 different chassis with different specializations to choose from. Maybe you'll take the L class and use your speed to wall run and evade enemies. Or you'll tank your way with the H class. Perhaps provide support as the towering T class. Beginners, though, are best starting off with the M class, as it provides a solid moderate in all respects, and by default comes with the auto repair functionality, which I highly recommend when you're just getting started and you're still learning the map layouts. Each vehicle class counterbalances the others, and there's even cosmetic options for each side to choose between. Inexplicably, you have to recreate each custom loadout per car rather than per chassis, even though there's no clear reason as to why the different make and models warrant this. Regardless, this is all fantastic. This adds a lot of legs to the combat, which makes it hurt all the more when you realize that this Transformers G.I. Joe Mad Max wet dream is confined inside such a small package despite that $20 price point. There are organic moments that sell the experience. Ending up in a car chase like at a Fury Road crossbred with Mario Kart and Rocket League is great. Brawls are hectic and you're always moving towards your next confrontation. There's polish and dedication here that is damn well praiseworthy, and I'm willing to bet the developers made the choice to go for quality over quantity. As that stands, if you can hold up to the repetition, then you're golden. This is a really well executed game. From the soundtrack, which boasts multiple indie artists contributing to a playlist that you can customize, to the tight gameplay, it's a solid ride. There's definitely more fun to be had here than some bigger multiplayer only titles, and the inclusion of bots is a serious blessing. But even then, this game doesn't have great gas mileage. It's got a fantastic engine beneath that hood. I cannot say that enough. But auto-age Standoff needs more to maintain a long-term following. It needs more content. There needs to be a proper cooperative mode. There needs to be more maps. And the bots could run into the walls a little less. That would also be very much appreciated. If it doesn't improve, the competition might leave it in the dust. I hate saying that because I really do like it. If there were a proper single-player component, I'd have no hesitation. But as a multiplayer-only title, this is one you're going to want to weigh the risk. Which is why auto-age